Happy January. It is very cold here. We had about 7 inches of snow in Springfield over the past 2 days, and now it's clear, and man, is it cold. I think it is going to be -2 tomorrow morning. I start my new desk job, cubicle job tomorrow. Those of you that listen to my political podcast know that I needed to find a full-time job to have health insurance, affordable health insurance. And so I'm starting a new job. I'm kind of excited about it, but I'm going to start a 8 to 5 job tomorrow morning. So I'm excited and also prepping to bundle up and be warm on my way to work tomorrow because it's going to be very cold. But here we go. I did promise myself that this year I would do a knitting podcast the last Sunday of every month. And here we are, January 25th, last Sunday of the month. And I've got things to show you. I knew that if I did a knitting podcast the last Sunday of the month, the chances are I would have my pair of socks for the month completed, which this month I do. These are shorties, and aren't they sweet? Very scrappy. It took me pulling lots of different yarns, different blue yarns on this second toe. You can tell which one I knit second. It's this one because I had to go and pull off of different variegated skeins to get some blue that would even slightly match, and it really doesn't match, but that's okay, to make blue toes for these winter color shorty socks. And that is the theme for January for the Grocery Girls Sock Bash. There had been some delays in getting started with the Sock Bash this year, and I don't know whether Tracy, who does the Sock Bash, is going to simply announce the theme at the beginning of every month from now on, or whether she's going to publish themes for the entire year. In previous years, she's given us all the themes for the year. And I actually last year did a video showing the yarn from my stash that I was going to use in each of the months going forward. And this year, I don't have that list yet, and I don't know if I will. So in any event, she got started on the 15th of January with very kindly saying, let's just do shorty socks because they start late. And so I started these on the 15th and finished them yesterday, 24th. So short socks. And these are a pattern that I have knit before. I knit these last summer. And they are called the band heel socks. And it is not a traditional heel. It is, you knit 14 rows or so, and then you start decreasing on either side of 9 or 10 stitches until you get to the point where you've used all those up and then pick up. So there's no short rows in these heels. It's just decreases on either side of a little panel that goes up. So there's also no reinforcement in these heels. And that's, you sacrifice the reinforcement of a eye of partridge stitch going in there. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, but this is a quick heel, and I wanted to finish these quickly. So they do have a twisted rib at the top, and these are top down. And again, this is the easy band heel socks pattern, and I do have the link below to that. It is a quick heel. And they're shorties, and they're winter colors, and they're done. And you know who these are going to. They're going to Youngest Child, of course. I am wearing the Sally Melville pattern, Divide and Conquer, that I knit last year. It is crocheted granny squares in fingering weight yarns, fingering weight scrap yarns, and then you connect them with knitting in DK weight yarn, which the crochet in fingering weight, the weight of that, the thickness of that matches the thickness of the knitting in DK weight. So it was really fun that Sally Melville figured that out and made this very colorful I used a lot of scraps with this, and I'm very pleased with this sweater. We are all knitting. A lot of people, the most popular pattern on Ravelry right now is the Melt the Ice hat. And this is, I'll show you the top. This is a paid pattern, so I'm not going to show the whole thing, but it is a little pointed cap with a braid on the top, and it is based on a hat that was worn in Norway during World War II as a form of resistance. And the pattern says in the 1940s, Norwegians made and wore red pointed hats with a tassel as a form of visual protest against the Nazi occupation of their country. Within 2 years, the Nazis made these protest hats illegal and punishable by law to wear, make, or distribute. As purveyors of traditional craft, we felt it appropriate to revisit this design. I am knitting mine, and I'm hoping to be able to get 3 out of these 2 skeins of yarn. I think I'm going to. I think there's over 600 yards here. Yeah, there it is. This is and I got to pronounce it right because I went to the website. It's Malabrigo, and it's arroyo, and arroyo is brook or stream in Spanish. And this is the colorway. This is colorway, I'll hold this up, cereza, which is cherry in Spanish. And so I love that I'm using a South American yarn. This is milled in Peru, and much of the wool and other fibers comes from Uruguay that Malabrigo puts out. So this color is just gorgeous. Very appropriate for the red hat. And I have 2 skeins. So it says it needs approximately 200 yards of red yarn in your choice of fingering, DK, or worsted. And I am using the fingering weight pattern, although this is a sport weight. And so I'm also dropping a needle size for the fingering. They call for you to use fingering with US 4s, but I'm using 3s. And I just want a nice tight hat. So so far I started this last night. I've got a good 1.25 inches of, it's just knit one, purl one ribbing for a while. And then be sure that you're getting the latest version of this hat. If you buy it, I have a link below. It's for sale on Ravelry. It's $5. And that money is going to Minneapolis causes. That's my understanding. And this, the top of this hat, they've had to revise this pattern a few times and re-release it. So just to make the pattern hat top, the instructions for that clear. So make sure you're getting the latest version. And if you've already bought it, go back and take a look at my understanding is that the instructions are clearer now with the latest version. But it's a pretty simple hat. It's knit one, purl one with the stockinette top and then a braid. So, I think it's a simple hat, but it's Melt the Ice. And that's what I'm working on currently. I am also doing something a little creative with a very, very, very old UFO. This started being a shawl, the Ayano shawl by Mercedes Tarasovich. And it was a round shawl, not a crescent, just a round, all the same distance all the way around your shoulders. And I had some of this yarn in green, that's a cream, blue, and green, and I was alternating it with Tiur, which is an old Dale Tiur wool, and this has wool and what else? Mohair, wool and mohair. Yeah, it's 60-40 wool, mohair wool. And so it's very soft, but I can see why they discontinued. I loved this yarn when I bought it, and now that I'm actually knitting a lot of it, I'm realizing, oh, it's really splitty. It probably doesn't hold up real well to washing, but it is soft as all get out. But I alternated this one skein of oddball yarn I had with the Tior in gray, and then I added. You can see where I just kept going with some Shetland, and then did the lace part of the shawl and started to do what was going to be a vertical lace that you picked up and knit a zigzag lace at the bottom for the shawl. And I just tried that and I just didn't like it. It was just too fussy. And I've stopped wearing shawls pretty much and certainly stopped knitting a lot of shawls. So I put sleeves on it. And I had, like 340 something stitches on the needles. So I knew I had enough to go ahead and put some little puffy sleeves on there. And then I'm working on the bottom. And it really is more than big enough to have a little jacket. And you can see at the top, it has points at which, almost raglan points, at which it goes around the shoulders. The shawl goes around the shoulders. And then I just went down and said, okay, I'm going to tack on a solid little puffy sleeve. There you go. That's how you can see that. And then now I'm just, until I run out of yarn, I'm just going to knit something on the bottom, stockinette, and then a little rib. Very, very small rib, but just enough at the bottom. And then I think I'm just going to pin it shut. I don't think I'm going to I have enough, I've saved a little bit of yarn if I want to put a little button band on there or a little band, garter band, just to kind of make it look more finished. But I don't think I'm going to put buttons on it because it's pretty light and stretchy, and I think I'm just going to leave it as an open garment. But I can tell you that I wrote on my Ravelry page for that project, I wrote in 2018 that it had been sitting for a while and that I had pulled it out and started working on it again. And I got it to where that blue lace was finished, and then it got shoved in a bag again because I didn't want to do that bottom lace. And so I realized in year of UFOs last year that I really wanted to go ahead and finish her frog. And I decided I really don't want to frog this. I really want to just have it, even if I'm just wearing it at home as a bed jacket kind of thing. But I think it's going to look okay. I think it's going to look kind of pretty. I am also I didn't know what was going to happen with the sock bash. And it just ran very late, and that's fine. But I did start another pair of socks January 1st just so I would have some. But then when this sock bash thing came out, I dropped everything and went and worked on the sock bash socks. But I have in process, so this is Hedgehog Fibers. It is colorway Merman, and I am making Hermione's everyday socks out of that. And this is where I'm at. I'm past the instep. So I'll finish this one soon, and then decide, this is going to be a travel sock or travel project. And eventually I'll finish these, but they're not going to be a sock bash sock because I'm not going to finish them this month. I'm not going to finish another sock this month with those. What else? Is that it? Currently working on the Melt the Ice hat. That's really my next big project. And again, links to all of this are down below. It's time to talk about acquisitions. I don't have that many, but I did have a Yarny Christmas because my family knows what to get me. And I have put all of these yarns, these 3 yarns that I got for Christmas, I have put them in my stash at Ravelry. I've started doing that, which I'm so excited to finally be putting stash on Ravelry. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I will for sure, when I show you new yarns, new acquisitions, be adding those to my Ravelry stash and linking them below so you can see them and know what I have and be able to then get it if you want, if it's available. My my youngest child just got back from a trip to Amsterdam. They went, youngest child went to Amsterdam and Brussels for study abroad for a month, 17 days. And I said, Amsterdam? Did you know there's Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam? Actually, I think youngest child said, are there any yarn stores in Amsterdam? Yeah, there's one in particular you should go to. Stephen and Penelope. And so youngest child came back with this little project bag that says, my bestie went to Stephen and Penelope, and all I got was this project bag, Stephen and Penelope, Amsterdam. So what a hoot. But it's a lovely little bag, isn't it? It's just the right size for a sweater, sleeve, whatever thing. You can hold a couple skeins of yarn in that. Anyway, I love it. And so, but this bag is a lie, because it wasn't all I got was this project bag, because youngest child also got me some yarn. And the funniest thing was youngest child said, I went into the yarn store, Mom, and I pointed to some yarn and said, can my mom make socks with this yarn? And apparently the person behind the counter went, no! and quickly directed youngest child, to a area of the store that was more appropriate for socks. And so I have the two sock yarns to show you. The first one is a German yarn. It's Prue Yarns. And it is fabulous. It's almost trans flag colors. But it's got two splotches of pink and a lot of blue. I specifically asked youngest child to bring me some blue yarn because I'm going to knit blue socks this year. And so Prue Yarns, German, and this is colorway Monkey Island. And again, link below to my Ravelry stash. And then that was what I asked for. Then youngest child picked this one out. And this is Bird Street yarn. This is dyed in Amsterdam by Claire and John. Birdstreetyarn.com. And this is colorway Lovely Shrubbery. So there's a Monty Python angle to this colorway. A lovely shrubbery. And you can see all the lovely shrubbery in there. So those two sock yarns, this one is going to be the February sock. Youngest child's birthday is in February, so this will be birthday socks, and youngest child knows that. Then my husband got me, this is from one of my favorite dyers. They're from Ohio, Dye Mad. I have another skein of theirs called Honk. The color's called Honk. It's a blue yarn. But this one is called Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I saw this online and I said, this would make a great Christmas present for me from you, honey. And of course he said, go order it. And then we put it in the stocking, and that was that. Because that's how Mama gets what Mama wants. So again, these will also be socks sometime, probably this year. There's a lot of purple in this, but there's enough blue, I think, to get away with saying this can be a blue sock. I always read something at the end of the show, and today I was very inspired to read Barbara Walker's obituary. We lost Barbara Walker earlier this month. Barbara Walker, if you don't know, Treasury of Knitting Patterns in 3 volumes, plus a book on Afghan knitting. She has a book on top-down knitting. She has mosaic knitting, And we really have to thank Schoolhouse Press for republishing and rediscovering Barbara Walker and putting these books out and keeping them published. They are amazing. As you can see, I pulled this off my shelf, but I've got all these bookmarks in here of different patterns. And this is just black and white stitch patterns. Corn on the cob stitch. Waffle check. Many slip stitches, mosaic type things. Tremendous number of lace stitches. All kinds of lace. Anyway, treasure after treasure. There's some slip stitch checks and so forth. Amazing knitting resources. I can see the yellow copy of Charted Knitting Patterns because with their slip stitch patterns, a lot of these do not have charts with them, and that got to be a little annoying. And so there's a volume of charts for the mosaic patterns. But I'm going to read a little bit. I always end with reading. I'm going to read a little bit from Barbara Walker. Knitting Innovator is dead at 95 because this is how you all want to go, folks. You want to make it to 95 and be an acknowledged goddess of knitting as Barbara Walker was. This is by Joanne Kaufman at the New York Times. Barbara G. Walker, a self-taught knitter whose boredom with basic designs inspired her to catalog stitch patterns from around the world and to invent about 1,000 patterns of her own, making her a revered figure among the knitterati. Died on December 21st. She was 95. And this obit came out January 22nd, so apparently with a delay in announcing her passing. Barbara came at knitting unlike anyone else, Tricia Malcolm, the former editorial director of Vogue Knitting, said in an interview, adding, "It was a game changer for all of us." Ms. Malcolm continued, "Before, if you wanted to make, say, a striped sweater, the instructions would say, these are the different sizes you can make, and this is how much yarn you'll need, and this is how many stitches you need to cast on, and this is how to decrease the stitches for the sleeves." Miss Walker didn't really do that, Ms. Malcolm said. Her thing was to show you the swatches of stitch patterns, and you'd use those designs to create a unique garment. Her know-how filled 7 foundational books. Combined, they have sold hundreds of thousands of copies, according to Schoolhouse Press, which in the late 1990s began reissuing the guides that Ms. Walker wrote for the publisher Scribner's in the 60s and 70s. The reissues include her first book, A Treasury of Knitting Patterns, 1968, along with 2 of the 3 follow-up volumes, and Mosaic Knitting, the title of which was a term she coined to describe her method of working with 2 colors. Ms. Walker was celebrated for devising ways to reduce the complexity and tedium of certain needle-centric tasks. If Barbara found an issue with how something had long been done, she was always looking to contribute, to figure out how she could improve on it. Christina McGowan, a knitting pattern designer, said in an interview, more so, she'd ask, how can I make the process more enjoyable? And she also, skipping over some of this, but this quote from Meg Swanson of Schoolhouse Press is really special to me. It wasn't just that these patterns made a sweater more interesting to look at. They made the sweater more interesting to knit. And that was Barbara Walker. And I didn't know the rest of her biography, that she published an autobiography called The Skeptical Feminist, Discovering the Virgin Mother and Crone in 1987. She also published Feminist Fairy Tales in 1995. And she created and hand-painted a well-regarded feminist tarot card deck in the mid-1980s. But knitting was something of a constant. I'll bet Barbara always had something on her needles, Ms. Swanson said. Ms. Walker, who was the subject of a 2011 video interview, had a voluminous output. At her death, she had produced 15 afghans, several bedspreads, some 300 garments, and around 600 meticulously detailed outfits for the 400 fashion dolls and action figures in her collection. Barbara researched a lot about knitting and invented a lot and wanted to get it all out there, Ms. Swanson said. She wanted to disseminate information, but she wasn't an evangelist for knitting. She obviously loved it and was skilled at it, but she didn't proselytize, Ms. Swanson added. She was like, here it is. If you can use it, that's great. Anyway, love that about her. 95 is a great run, and Barbara Walker left us so much, and we can show our gratitude by continually referring to her books and her patterns and her attitude of make it enjoyable. So you go, Barbara Walker, and keep knitting, and I'm going to keep working on that Melt the Ice hat, and I will talk to you next month. Take care. Bye.
What's Blue Gal knitting this month? It's gonna have color, it's gonna be socks, maybe a sweater for the cold night weather, but whatever she's stitching, you know it rocks. Oh, it rocks. Oh, it rocks. Oh, it rocks. Striped toes peeking from the Sunday slippers, charts scribbled down on a sticky notepad, soft wool waiting in a basket by the window, every single stitch turning meh into rad. What's Blue Gal knitting this month? It's gonna have color, it's gonna be socks, maybe a sweater for the cold night weather, but whatever she's